should you get a computer science degree in the year 2024? And this is a really hard question to answer, so I'm actually making an entire video on it, and I'm going to go over a bunch of topics. So at the end, I'm going to tell you what I think, but along the way, I'm going to paint the picture of like why I think that way. So the topics are as follows. What is so scary about 2024? I think a lot of you have a good idea if you click this video. I'm also going to talk about what exactly is a computer science degree. I'm going to ask the question of why do you want a computer science degree? I also want to talk about like what jobs, what businesses and companies actually want and need on their side. And then I'm going to talk about probably the most important topic, which is the financials, the idea of you are spending a lot of money for something that's a degree, and you're hoping to get an ROI on that. I want to talk about that a little bit more near the end. And right after that, I want to give you my answer of what I think about the whole situation. All right, so the biggest question is like, what is so scary about 2024 that so many people have been commenting and asking me pretty much every day, almost every hour, about whether or not they should even go down this path of getting a computer science degree. And the elephant in the room is an elephant called Devin and ChatGPT, and just basically people are putting in this umbrella of AI, and a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, is all about whether or not AI is going to quickly just replace software engineers, and this is going to be an outdated thing like factory workers or farmers. People are constantly painting this picture, and they're asking the question, should I even get a degree, right? Now, if you've been on my channel enough and you have commented, I've replied to all my comments, and one of the things that I constantly go back to is I will go on the record in saying that AI will not replace software engineers, but I will say that like in 5 or 10 years, like the entire idea of a software engineer or a coder or a developer is going to be drastically different because of AI. I don't think there's a scenario that I see yet where it's going to replace us completely. And this is also where I draw upon my experience. I've been a software engineer professionally for about 15 years, and during that time, I've been on 29 different engineering teams, and there's only one thing that is common between all of them, and it's the idea that there's more work than people. There's always more work that needs to be done, that wants to be done, that businesses want to be done to advance and improve their business by the means of having software. And I just think it's a ridiculous idea to think that any business is going to just be like, oh good, I have enough software, I'm okay now, let's cut the software engineers. Like, there will always be more. There's always more efficiency to be had. There's more ways that like a business can grow, and software engineers plus AI probably in the future will be a key part of that growth, and that the desire, the need, the greed of businesses is still going to be there, and it will always be there for as long as we have money, right? So let's go on and like go back to the basics. Let's go ahead and define what a computer science degree is. I'm going to put the definition up here because I might be getting it wrong, but the way I understand a computer science degree, I have one, and the idea of a computer science degree is to have the foundational knowledge to know the science of how a computer works. That includes like all the lowest levels of an operating system, of how computers work, how networking works, how like even programming works. So it's this foundational knowledge that you know how this stuff works. That's what the degree gives you in my eyes. Now, what is a degree? So if you think about it, if you peel back just for a second, a degree is something that states value. It is a verified third party that is trusted, that has said that this person, that Cody Codes, has done all of the work necessary, has proven to me that he has this foundational knowledge of computer science, that he has passed all of our tests, has done all of this like rigorous study to understand the basics of computer science, and I stamp it with approval. That's what a degree is. That's what it really boils down to. So that segues me into the next question of like, why do you actually want the degree? And when it comes to computer science, there are many different ways you can use the degree, but I'm only going to focus on one. And the idea is that you get a job out of it, and that is pointing towards web development. Now, that is like where the path I took and the path that I can speak the best to, but that's not everything. So in this video, I'm just going to be talking about that kind of path, right? I do want you to notice that before, on the previous step about asking what is a degree, the degree is not a training for a job. College degrees are not job training programs. They're educational tools to give you like the foundational knowledge of which that you can use in a job, but they don't train you for jobs. It took me probably an embarrassing amount of like 10 years to actually realize that. Universities and colleges are not job placement programs, although people do treat them like that, like get a degree to get a job. They're there to give you the foundational knowledge so that you could hopefully use that for a job. There's a key difference. Okay, so let's move on to like the businesses, the companies. What do companies and businesses want from junior employees? I want to kind of paint the picture of like what software engineering is as a career. It's not a career where you learn some skills and you then do those skills in the job place and you're good to go. It is, for better or worse, a constantly like learning and adapting and pivoting industry where you're learning new technologies, new ways of doing things, adapting to new software, new hardware, new technologies like AI. It's always this moving target. So you're always going to spend the day that you start as a software engineer to the day that you die as a software engineer. Like you will always be learning to some degree. So that's the baseline. That is the normal. That's a tone of the entire career. Now, looking at your very first job, like that junior employee after you get out of college, they want to hire you knowing that you have the skills to kind of do the job and be able to run up faster. The degree will tell you that you have the knowledge, but there's this gap that you can actually do the work, that you can actually program. And that's a gap that you need to fill yourself, or just get lucky that a company will hire you without it. The gap that I'm trying to say between the degree and the job is the practical experience. That's like internships, like you can even maybe do some group projects to prove that you can like do some of the work. Now, this may sound like really unfair. Like I got the degree, I should be able to get a job. It doesn't really work that way because of how this industry really works. And the idea is that when you get into that job, they are taking an investment in you. You are not going to be very useful at first. So the first like 2 to 3 years of your career as a software engineer, you're learning more on top of programming. You're going to get better at programming, but you're also learning how production software works, how this company uses business needs and turns it into requirements for code. You're going to be learning a ton that's outside of programming, but also programming and trying to spin up as a junior employee. So to make yourself look favorable to these companies, to know that they're going to be spending a lot of time and effort with their existing staff to get you to ramp up to be an independent engineer, that's where you have to really like put in the extra effort of getting a degree, but also like having the experience and a portfolio of some sort saying that, yes, I can do this job. I'm saying this from deep down in the heart because I did not do that. So I graduated and I had no internships, no projects. I barely finished any of my class project. I was a horrible student. And I also graduated college right in 2008. So that the 2008 financial crisis, and I had the hardest time. It felt back then just like it feels now when people are trying to apply for jobs, of just getting ghosted and ignored and auto-rejected. I ended up having to take a software analyst job, which did not require a degree, and it paid me about $40,000 a year to get in there and prove that I can learn how to code and also do the job appropriately, and then eventually 2 years later get a software engineering job. So I had to shoot downwards to actually get a job that I should have been qualified at first, but I didn't have any experience to actually prove that. So we actually got to talk about the financials too, because the idea is that the college costs a lot of money, and the question now is like whether or not it's worth the investment, the ROI, the return on investment of you being able to pay off those costs later. Whether you're getting your parents to pay for it, whether you're paying for it yourself, or you're taking out a ton of debt. Either path, like you have to think about whether or not this money is worth it. For me, I was a complete idiot, and that may be a running theme that like I just kept on saying, yeah, I'll take the most that you allow me to borrow. And I ended up borrowing about $117,000 for an undergraduate degree. And it took me about 9.5 years to pay that off. But that's on me. I'm the problem, it's me. So, but here's the interesting part. The financials in 2024 are a little bit more interesting than I thought. When I was doing research about this, the price of tuition for a standard 4-year college degree has actually gone down a little bit if you include inflation. And also, when I compare 2008 to today, the percentage, the interest rate on federal loans has actually gone down a little bit too. So the question then goes, well, why does everyone think, college is so expensive, about how much money you're going to be spending and that it's not worth it, There's one area that a lot of people leave out, but that's kind of the key thing of what's, so expensive about college. And the idea is that cost of living has gone up. More often than not, you will not have a job. I hope you have a job and work through college, but some people don't. And the idea that you still have to have money for living, rent, food, maybe some going out money if you want to really enjoy your college experience, right? That has gone up. So my hopes in this section is actually to really press upon people to really think about how much it actually costs, about whether you're borrowing money, whether you're getting it from your parents, no matter what, however you're going into it, I want you to think about being careful and knowledgeable about how much debt and money you're spending in order to make this degree happen. Please, please, please just think about the future. It took me so long to pay myself off, and I wish I could tell myself back in 2004 that I shouldn't borrow that much money. So this brings us to our conclusion, and what is my thought? What do I think that whether or not you should get a computer science degree in 2024? And my advice is heavy on the caution side, but I would say if it makes financial sense to you, if you can make it happen and you're willing to take on that debt or that risk or spending that money, then it is definitely still worth getting a computer science degree today. I think the return on investment's still there, but I wanted to highlight that caution because if these costs keep on going up, then that's going to make the equation a little bit harder to swallow about whether or not it's a return on investment or you should do a more non-traditional path to get into the industry. It's hard and it's also a very personal decision. I will go a step further and say that if my kids were 10 years older and they asked if they wanted to go to college for computer science, I would say yes. I would say yes and guide them through that decision. But I would, of course, want them to go in there with eyes wide open and have the willingness and drive to do the degree and get into the industry and enjoy what's there, the challenges and the joys and everything that's there. Anyways, I hope this context and my experience helps someone try to make this decision with all the concerns of AI and the threats of industry collapsing. I don't see that happening, but I will continue to make this video every single year to make sure that things change from year to year and see how people think. Also, I love discussing about this. I respond to every single comment, whether better or worse, of my mental health. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this kind of topic, whether or not you are getting into it, or if you have any follow-up questions. And also, if you're curious about my 15-year career, I have a video here about what I've done throughout my entire 15-year career. Thank you for watching. And one more thing, if you really want to, I want you guys to put a unicorn in the comments because I think unicorns are neat, I guess. But whenever I see those emojis in the comments, it just warms my little heart. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.